Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to practice a few more skills for the Microsoft Excel certification test, MO200. Specifically, I want to look at format and modify text. So we can one of the skills is formatting text by using the right, left, and mid functions. Those aren't too bad. Can be a little tricky sometimes, but overall pretty easy. So I've got some data up here already, email addresses. And let's say my goal is to get the user names. That's the part of the email address before the @ symbol. I'm going to use the left function for that. Technically, I'm going to be using a left and a find, but definitely need that left function. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with equals left. Now, first, it's wanting to know, well, what text do I want to look at? I'm going to click on the cell that contains the first email address. That's what I want to look at, comma. Now, here's where we go. How many characters do I want? Well, if I were to just type in something like 5 characters, I will get the first 5 characters of each of those email addresses, but that's not what I want. I want to go to wherever the @ symbol is. So instead of putting in the number 5, I need to use a find function, and the find function will allow me to search for the @ symbol within the cell that contains the email address. Now I'm going to go ahead and press enter and see how it works. And we can see that we're just a bit off. It's actually going and including the @ symbol. No problem, because right after that find function is really producing a number result. Well, I can take that result and subtract 1 from it. So now I'm 1 minus, or the @ symbol minus 1, which will be 1 position before the @ symbol. So now I'm getting all of those usernames over there. Cool. So that's the left function in action. Start from the left of a particular cell, and then you choose how many characters you want, or in this case, where I wanted to stop searching. Now I'm going to try a mid function, because now my goal is to display the domain of the email address. That'll be the yahoo.com or the live.com or whatever. So mid is very similar to left. Once you learn one, the others is going to be very, very easy. So I'm going to start off with a mid function. The cell in question is the cell that contains my email address. Now I have to put in the starting position. Just like before, I could put a number in if it was always consistent. I could put a number 7 in there. And then how many characters do I want? I don't know. I'll just guess and put in 10. And I was close to correct on that first one, but not nearly exactly what I want here. So let's modify this a little bit better. Instead of putting a start number of 7, again, I'm going to have to find the @ symbol within the cell that contains the email address. It's going to be close, but not quite right, because again, it's going to find that @ symbol. Well, I'm going to change that. I'm not going to look for the @ symbol specifically, but I'll look for the @ symbol plus 1 space after the @ symbol. And there we go. So now I start to get this, but it's still not quite right, because I'm telling it to display 10 characters, and I don't know if it's going to be 10 characters. I have a couple options here. I could just do a really big number, something like 30, and it's bound to be okay. And if I was concerned about that, I could put an even bigger number like 50 or 60 or 100. Or we can be more specific. Instead of using 30, I can use the length of the cell A2. So I'm going to have the length of that. Even that's a little bit more than we need, but this would be accurate. This would definitely get what I need there. If I wanted to reduce that a little bit, I could say, you know what, I don't want just the length. I want the length minus the location of the @ symbol in that cell. And there we go. So it's going to end up looking the same, but you'll just have to trust me on this one. This is a much more accurate way to go. So what are we doing here? We're using the mid function, and we're starting 1 space after the @ symbol in the particular cell. How many characters are we displaying? Well, we're going to display whatever the length of the string is, the total number of characters, minus all of the characters up to the first @ symbol there. And for an email address, that works out pretty well. So that's the left and the mid functions. Last but not least, we'll handle the right function. Now the right function is going to display a number of characters from the right of a text string. So equals right parentheses, the cell that contains the email address, comma, and then how many characters do I want. I'll just put 3 in here because it looks like all of my top level domains have 3 characters, and click enter, and now that's going to display pretty nicely. There we go. Now, of course, just like we did before, instead of putting that hard number of 3, you could use some different functions. However, I'd want to be careful if this was truly my goal, because obviously these email addresses only have 1 period, but it's possible that a domain for an email might have multiple periods. So using the period to find as a find point could be a little bit tricky in some situations. But for now, that's pretty good. And there are our 3 text functions for the MO200 exam: left, mid, and right. There's a little bit of length being used in there too. Take care.